12-year-old Mamta, the time for games is over. It's a wedding day, and she's marrying 20-year-old Surender. Her mother expresses her relief.
Doesn't a daughter's marriage weigh you down? How would we get her married later? If I get her married early, my responsibility will be over sooner. I still have the burden of marrying one more daughter.
Mamta's family live in Siddha district of the southern plains of Nepal, also known as the Tarai. Officially, girls must be at least 18 before they get married. But it's thought that 75% of girls in this region don't wait that long.
Child marriages take place with the consent of the family and the society. It is cultural, yet we have legal mechanisms, like people can complain to the police and they have to stop the marriages, but nobody ever complains. This also means that girls face a risk of dying due to early motherhood.
Child marriage is bad enough, but what is most sinister is the demand for dowry. Girls often get tortured if their families cannot meet these demands. Some even get killed.
In the village of Buryacham, 12-year-old Zanati is still mourning the death of her sister, Mantarya Devi, married off when she was 15. Less than 2 years later, she was dead after an argument over her dowry.
We gave them everything that they asked for, but later they wanted a motorbike. We were not capable of giving it straight away. It was not impossible, so we were saving up for it.
Mantarya's husband and in-laws have disappeared and are on the run.
So it just goes to show that these child marriages have more negative outcomes than positive outcomes. A lot of these child marriages are happening in poor countries, and the harm on the girls that it's causing is tremendous. There are girls less than 18 that are getting married. In the beginning, it said how the mom thought it was a burden to get the girl to get married, when it's really just sounded like it was a burden to have a female child. It shouldn't be a burden to have a female child. I think it's more of a burden having to get your child an education or get your child a job, not necessarily get your child to be married. It should be up to the child when they're of age to decide who they want to get married to. And then there's also the dowry disputes, and in most countries, dowries are paid by the groom's family to the bride's family, but in this case, it's the bride's family paying to the groom's family, which is completely absurd. One, you're already taking a child from their parents, plus now you're taking money from them. It's like that's not an equal distribution of happiness and wealth and things of that nature. Child marriages are happening all over the world, but they're mostly happening in poor countries, like in continents like South America, Africa, and parts of like Southeast Asia, Southwest Asia. And it just shows that there's a correlation between the wealth of a nation and what happens in the nation. So it just shows that the poor countries, it shows that because of poverty, parents want to give away their children so that other people will take care of their children, and they'll set them free so they can get married and things like that. It's a culture. There's no laws that are like saying you have to marry, girls that are young, but it's just a culture. And even though there are laws that prohibit child marriages, people still do it because it's in a culture. It's so embedded in them that they can't let it go. So child marriages are affecting kids everywhere. Little girls are having a higher risk of dying because when you marry at a young age and you get pregnant, your organs and everything in your body isn't fully developed. So you're bearing children while your body is not fully developed, and you have a risk of dying. Also, most of these men aren't marrying just one girl, they're marrying multiple wives, and so that is harmful because there's a chance of getting HIV and AIDS. And then also there's a chance of domestic violence, a lot of these girls don't want to be there, so they're gonna be resistant to a lot of the things the man says, and so there's gonna be a lot of violence going on in the homes. This is illegal. Like these this culture of child marriages is infringing on human rights. It continues the cycle of poverty, and it will only continue to get bigger unless we solve the problem. I feel like we can work at it on a upwards downwards way, and like focus on laws that prohibit it and enforce those laws. But until we get at the individuals and tell them that this culture of marrying children at a young age is not good, that it shouldn't be a burden to find someone to marry your daughter, that you should rather give the child an education first and a good upbringing in the home versus spending all that time finding a suitor for the child, then we can tackle child marriages. um, um, it's tradition. It feeds into the gender roles, how maybe girls aren't really worth as much. I know in a lot of cultures, boys are valued a lot more than girls because girls don't get any property rights. They don't get any pieces of land once the father dies. They literally are just sent off to their husband, and so they are really worth nothing. And so I think that spews into why child marriages are a real thing, because you want to give your daughter away as early as possible so you don't have to deal with training her, educating her, things of that nature, because she won't get any property or any rights to land once her father dies. Some solutions to child marriages are just empowering girls and supporting them so that they know that they can be the change that they see tomorrow. And then working with the governments of these countries also provide services for young girls in these countries, like free education, like instructions and workshops on sex and healthy lives and things of that nature, and then also implementing laws and policies. I think all of that is really good solutions. So my questions are: why do you think that child marriages exist? How do you think we can end child marriages? And also, do you think that you can change something about child marriages, even though child marriages don't happen in the USA?